I'm also thinking about this now. Okay, so the recording started. I'm thinking about how to make this actually more of a broader topic. So if we're going to become, let's say, the world's most innovative hospitality company, then I think if just having that in mind might actually get us to think more. Just having like in mind that there's an audience that could potentially be watching this, that there's people that will potentially be learning from the things that we're discussing here, I think will elevate the conversations, and also it will really focus the conversations to be much more on topic as well. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and kick this off. So, let's see who's supposed to be chairing. I don't have this question.
I think I should be sharing.
You should be sharing, yeah. Okay, all right. So you should be sharing your screen then. I'll stop sharing my screen. Go for it. I look like a brute drinking from a big container. Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay, you can start. Sorry.
Okay. You asked me, right? Your turn.
Oh. Oh yeah, right. Sorry.
Oh, pow!
I thought your sharing screen is you. Okay, never mind.
No,
Okay.
pow! That's like Vinny today. Like, oh my god, I thought it was 10. No, it's 10 o'clock. Normal.
Okay.
All right.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to have the daily HR Scrum. So maybe since Kiki is not here, so does VD. So I'd like to start maybe from Jing. Do you have any updates, sir?
Yeah. So my update on the Skillshare culture, if you can open that up, is we have actually a few rotations right now, and there's Mandarin, which we're practicing on a weekly basis, Russian, which will start this week, and also Python programming. I think these three are a pretty good start in form of skill sharing. What I'm thinking about also adding is copywriting and perhaps photography as well. So I think these are also skill sets that people can practice while they are sort of in lockdown. Copywriting is pretty essential because a lot of the communications that we're going to be having is better done if there's some copywriting around that. We've done art appreciation, which I was really surprised. The turnout. It seemed like a lot of people were really into that idea of art appreciation. And somebody's also brought up the idea of music appreciation and perhaps even food appreciation too as well. We might bring back this idea of a casting party. So recall that thing that we did in Jogja a few months ago when we invited the open house. So I think this is a play on your idea of the museum share. So instead of like a museum, we can just be like, show us what you are watching now on YouTube, right? Or show us what is like the most entertaining things that you've done. So I think that could be actually a pretty good topic for Skillshare. So what I want to do is I just want to add new topics to this and just really flesh this out. And I think this is one thing everybody agrees is something that's positive in their day when they do it. I saw Chandra just blossom when I told her, yeah, we're doing Mandarin class today. She was like, oh wow. So that part is pretty cool. Okay.
So when would you like to have the next?
Every day at 6 o'clock. So essentially, 6 o'clock to 6:50 is just the Skillshare hour for every day except Friday. We will have happy hours, and we'll just plug it in somehow so that the slot is there. We just need to find a way to program that time every day for a Skillshare.
Okay, so for today, what are we having, sir?
Mandarin. So we're doing part 2 of Mandarin Chinese.
Oh, okay. Okay. Like so this one is not done yet. Okay, this one.
Okay, next one is the task. That task has already been done, but Bayu has looked at the results and he's asked for an upgrade. So he's going to come in himself to ask because a lot of these things I think are things where people would need to know a little bit more about what's capable or what they would desire. So I guess we can push that to done right now. I've already done my part to help Bayu, and I think Bayu wants to follow up on his own now. Okay, so that actually, I guess I'm the secretary, so yeah, okay, that's already moved over. And this part, setting up research framework for Bukit Vista 4. Today I finished my own OKRs. Like I talked about too, this OKR, and maybe we can go into a discussion topic about it. I've wondered if it's actually good to set up retrospective OKRs. So it's sort of like you will have your OKR by the end of month from what you've done. So you can have an OKR of just do it and then figure out what you've actually done by the end of the month and then trace it back. For me, that worked much better than trying to plan what I was going to do because it was really difficult to see what the outcome would be unless we started it. So that was setting up research framework. This is pretty much all done. Now it's more of a habit forming cycle and working on smaller topics like time management, remote work culture, these things to improve it. So this I would confidently say that this is done. We can probably move this off my stack. Okay, next one is let's see, what's the next one? Safety net sync up. We haven't really moved ahead on that yet, and today I was going to announce it, but I thought it's complicated. But I might announce it in the groups. And this idea is just maybe a morning sync up and a brief skill share. So what it is essentially 15 minutes for a sync up. You can just talk about what you want to do. You can talk about your time management techniques. You can share your calendar. Just kind of a free space to just have other people double check your work, witness you, be your sponsor, so to speak. And then also, I was thinking about attaching a skill share or a learning session in the morning. So currently, my schedule starts at 9. Although honestly, I usually get in around 9:30 or whatnot. But I'd like to start at 9. Just that slot right now is currently for networking, but we do our networking at midnight right now, so that slot is still open. So I was thinking about filling that slot with maybe like a morning Skillshare session. I'll think about this, and if it makes sense, I'll announce it midweek this week. I probably don't have time to do it because I'm editing a video right now for Thursday. So it's not really on my bandwidth. Okay, next to the bonus compensation system. Okay, we have the system already. We have essentially talked about the different tranches. Now it's just more on what is the merit of it. And I'll go with Jing's best guess, Jing's best judgment for this one. And as we get more experience, we can probably move to something that's a little bit more clear. So this is this is bonus compensation. Okay, that is receiving feedback from BB All Hands. Yes. Okay, this is a new initiative. I just started this today. So basically, if you open that up, I'd like actually to get some help with this, and perhaps I can maybe delegate this to you. So this is a really good HR playbook. This is a really good inquiry box for us. So we're trying to get more people to achieve and share. And so I think when we see that people are failing or they have avoidable mistakes, it should be a signal to HR to do something about it. So today, for example, what I've done is I've seen that a lot of people have issues with time management, especially people who work in operations. So I just hosted a time management class with the group and told them essentially how they should plan their time. And that goes into actually your initiative of remote working culture. I think that's pretty important to actually get your time and schedule set up if you want to actually have a good remote working culture. So, but I think that this can be a source of inspiration and ideation for us as HR, to really understand. So, if I can, what I'd like to do is, can I delegate that to you, Ara? And what I'd like you to do is to come up with initiatives based on the feedback that people are stating, and think of ways that we can help people avoid their avoidable mistakes from happening again, and from them getting trapped. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so if that's okay, then you can go. What I'll do is I'll go back to that board. I'll tag you as the owner of Initiative I. So that is essentially the initiative to analyze employee failure and prepare for success. And I think through that we can have a happier whatever here at Bukit Vista. Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's it for me.
Okay. Okay, so for me, there's not much update from today, though. It's still like the same from yesterday. The new initiative that I make is basically I got an insight from Sean yesterday, which is to create a clear step for onboarding program. So I might probably I'm not sure if it can be applied actually to Keisha if she got onboarded because like it's too soon. But I will make a onboarding program that has like clear what is it step on like one you need to download this and I might probably need to coordinate with VD in the terms of what tools exactly in the very beginning that needs to be applied or somebody need to assign to. So this is still on progress, and yeah, starting from today to maybe it will be done less than a week, but yeah, maximum is next week.
I think that's fantastic, actually. I think if possible, I'd like to also work together with you on essentially all the different stages of onboarding. I think the output of this would actually almost look like an online course. It would look like LinkedIn Learning, right?
Yeah.
So a video and then watch it, understand it, watch it, understand it, watch it, understand it, and then at the very end you would kind of know what Bukit Vista is about. Okay, that sounds like a pretty good initiative, actually. So okay, great stuff. If I may, maybe we can have a sub discussion about that topic today, actually, about how to build the structure for this particular idea. And it wasn't Sean, by the way; it was Christian.
Oh yeah, wait.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
Sean didn't tell us any details. He just gave us kind of like the outside of
Oh,
that.
right, right, yeah.
Christian, yeah. Okay, all right. That's a bias. You have white man bias.
No, basically, I remember that Sean is more on making us to think, and it's more on like what is it? Yeah, Christian's is insightful, but Sean's is reflective discussion.
Yes, very good. Yeah, Sean did make us reflect, and actually, that was his biggest skill. He made me actually realize that we have other issues that
Mm-hmm.
pre-address remote working issues. Okay, great. So I'll go ahead and I'll put that on our discussion topic for today. Okay, continuing on.
Okay. So yeah, I think that's so far that's pretty much it for me. Like from UR list,
Okay.
this one has some updates, but in Kiki's card, actually, she contacted some UI and ITB lecturers.
She did.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Computer science, we contacted. They will discuss our offer online class further, but they say it's the right time for the internships offer due to their subject criteria and holiday season. So it's actually perfect timing for internships. That's what she said.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we need to send the details, materials, how to apply, requirements, location, and everything. And then for ITB, the new update is that they're open to partnerships. Already
Wow.
met with SBM Career Services. To do next, we'll give them details material. They will inform us about online class.
Not bad, actually. Maybe you can delegate some of your UR work to Kiki.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. But now my what is it? My question is she really enjoy doing this or not?
I don't know. I mean, you'll have to decide at a certain point. Maybe what we can do is just be very transparent with her. We can tell her, hey, look, you're technically not really qualified because we've seen these deficiencies, right? And these are the things. But if you want to work like on like let's say a reduced load or whatever, like just a few hours a week, then we could be okay with that. And your end project is to bring in, let's say, three partnerships with the top schools in Indonesia, ITB, UI, and whatnot. And so it just becomes one project long term that she works on, and there's not that need for so much engagement or sync ups or anything. We can probably do it all through Trello. In fact, part of, let's say, the part that makes things hard is this cultural, sort of surface area that we want to get. If that's not necessary and this is just one project, then we can say, Kiki, okay, we just got one long-term project for you, and that is blank, and that's it, right? But otherwise, we see that it seems like you're not really sure what you want to do. We're not getting clear signals of where you find any particular motivation. We can accept you on the basis of just working on this one project and then that's it. And this internship is what you make of it. I think on that, then at least you have at least one delegate who is getting actually good success. If she's able to arrange meetings already, then that's already progress, right? Compared to
Yeah, because you can see, sir, in here, personal research,
uh,
it's still empty.
yeah,
So, in the terms of personal research, I don't think she's quite developed in that terms. But as the research that I already create the framework, I already know can give her like what to do next, blah blah. She can do it, right? And it's pretty
okay,
successful. She
okay.
can get it. So yeah, that's the offer that we can give, I think, so far.
Perfect. All right. This is an opportunity for you two as well. So I've been that person also for many people, right? I've been the person who kind of sets up framework and tells, okay, just work within this framework. So you can get some practice with it too if you want to develop some of your leadership skill sets. But remember, this is not ideal leadership, right? This is a type of leadership where you have to create structure, you have to create everything, and then they sort of play within that playground. The best type of leadership is where you can motivate people to create that for themselves, where they have inherent motivation and they are inherently like motivated by that. So if you can consider this as your own project, even like your own project for, let's say, leading a person. And if it's something that you feel like, hey, that I could actually learn something from here while practicing leadership excellence skills, then I think by all means indulge in this internship opportunity. It could be a good practice for you. But if you feel like, well, I don't need that or whatnot, then I leave the decision in your hands because I think I can trust you to make these decisions. And also, yeah, you'll also see like what the pros and cons are when you make your own choice on it too. And it's a safe place. There's no wrong answer in Kiki's case. It won't be like wrong if we take her on. It won't be wrong if we can't take her. I think it's all pretty clear. Okay, let's continue. So we finished the scrum then. Let's pivot over to the okay. Let's pivot over to this new discussion. Wow, am I sharing already? That's me. Okay, crazy. So about Skillshare and productivity, the question I want to actually begin with. Okay, Skillshare, and then your initiative, onboarding initiative for new candidates. Okay, so on the Skillshare thing, what I want to talk about was what sort of topics would you recommend right now for Skillshare?
It's the person itself, and this is the type of conversation that I really how you can actually provide
Okay, all right. You're gonna have to reload. Wait, hold on a second. The internet was okay. Try talking again.
Okay, is it better now?
Yeah, it's way better now. Okay, continue.
Okay. So this is part of my appreciation. Maybe like I'm amazed on how you can actually deliver a lot of different Skillshare, like from Mandarins to even like art class. So that's like something amazing. But for what are the ideas? I don't know, sir. Like it depends on the person, right? Like I don't know, like what are the expertise that you can actually give.
Okay.
But as my ideas the other days, like music, maybe that will be as exciting also.
Okay, we have music appreciation up there already. Really think about this, right? The best type of leaders make other people leaders too. So I think that's actually a pretty good principle to remember when we think about Skillshare. The best leaders create more leaders. So it shouldn't be like, let's say, a Skillshare where one person is sharing all the time. I think that would be kind of boring. And that would not really create a culture of learning. That would create a culture of listening to the expert. What could be actually a pretty interesting idea is that people study. So this could be the format. You study and reshare, right? So like your idea of everybody goes to a museum, they learn about something that is interesting to them, and then they come back in the group to reshare what they've learned. And I think that is actually a sustainable and fun and actually really vigorous cultural format. So I'll give you an example that I was thinking about right now. So Gunny is fairly passionate about this idea of branding, right? So he's talking a lot about branding. He's talking a lot about like what is branding. So what I think could actually be sort of a thing is he could do an individual lesson on LinkedIn Learning, right? So Gunny will learn about what this is, branding from LinkedIn Learning, and then he can create a presentation and he can create a group discussion around this idea of branding. And this is a sustainable format. Let's say, for example, Ara, what are you interested in? Fashion, right? You like fashion. So if Ara likes fashion, I think that could be, I could see that you're passionate about talking about fashion. So you could actually go and maybe watch masterclass on Diane Vaughn's whatever, right? Or on Anna Winter, right?
Okay.
So you can have like essentially individual learning on, let's say, masterclass. You could watch the whole thing, right? You could digest the whole aspect of what it means, fashion, what are the epochs of fashion, what sort of drives fashion, who buys fashion, how does fashion affect what I wear today. So you can kind of like delve into those and then come back and present to everybody. And everyone would then have your interpretation of what fashion is. Vidi, welcome in. Vidi was talking about this idea of branding today in the digital marketing thing, and we're already practicing it right now. Actually, as you can see, Vidi, we're already recording these, and we'll be thinking about ways to title them so that they show up more on YouTube SEO. So let's add Vidi in here too. Vidi's been doing something on Python programming, so that's good. And I think it's pretty much like it's kind of been a watch and learn from expert class, right? But what would actually be kind of cool also to spin on that format, Vidi, I think is to let's say like a Socratic method almost. You can point to people and ask them to code. So you do a demo, and then you ask, okay, all right, now that I've done that, Jing, can you go and do a calculator, but instead of, let's say, addition, you do division or something. And then that would then, I think, actually reinforce a particular skill so that I would get some practice doing it too. And so it becomes more engaging and interactive. All right, let's see, what other topics can we actually discuss about? So I think Russian is pretty interesting because we got actually quite a few people who are pretty fluent in Russian. So that can be some sort of group lesson bi-weekly as well. Okay, followed by maybe using Duolingo. And that way it really drills in, right? It really becomes part of a practice. Vidi, any other ideas? These are part of the Skillshare topics that we want to program for HR.
I'm not sure whether people will be interested in this, but I think right now statistics and all those analytical analysis skills will be interesting to explore.
All right, statistics and analytics. That would definitely be a very niche group of people. So, okay, how would you present, like, let's say this class?
Right. So I think it will mostly touch because we are kind of like a research and development company right now, mostly on how people actually quantitatively perform research and what are the research mindsets. So I think it's more like on like good practice of research.
Okay, all right, good research.
Then we employ statistics because to quantify the data and prove our point, try to communicate because a lot of statistics nowadays people often forget that statistics is also about how you present your data to people.
And persuade. Okay, all right, that's actually pretty good. Persuade using data. Okay, that could be the title of your class: How to Win and Persuade Using Data. Okay. All right, so we just need a format for you to imagine on how that's done. Ara, real quick, any other thoughts, Ara, on what this would look like?
Will look like or the topics?
Topics.
Beside fashion, I'll add up something.
Okay.
myself.
Okay.
Hi.
All right. No worries. All right. So that kind of is out there now. I think we also need to agree on the format, right? Because we have different. This is like back when we were doing Sharpen the Saw. So everybody has like kind of a different teaching format, and every class will be in a different format too as well. But I think this will be good. Okay. Art appreciation. Art appreciation was kind of fun. I wonder what else we can do that's more kind of right brain stuff. Is it the right brain that's more creative or the left brain that's more creative? Okay.
Isn't it the left one?
Is it the left brain? Okay, sorry, left brain then. And I was thinking, Christian mentioned this thing about passing a cooking sort of, it's sort of like the ice bucket challenge, but for cooking. So cook a dish, show us how you cooked it in 30 seconds, and challenge somebody else, right? So that we get to see how everyone is actually making their own food, which is actually could be kind of fun too as well. All right, that is okay. That kind of ends that discussion. Let's go into the next discussion, which is more lengthy and pithy. So this is going to be about how we onboard new people, onboarding new BVers. Okay, so the objective here is to have a step-by-step onboarding and to cover key topics such as, let's say, basic computer setup and tools, company culture, sort of company mission and alignment, and maybe company culture and history, probably, right? I don't want people like, oh, where do we start? What was the whole point of this? Company culture and history, and basic computer setup, and sort of the self-management tools, okay, or philosophy. Okay, what I realized about this is going to be a this is a fairly large project, Ara. This is not something that is essentially doable in just one step. I think we really need to think about like what it is we want to convey and how we want to convey that. So I think it starts with basically just understanding what the major steps are, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, step 7. I always like to think of it as like try to constrain the number of steps first and then get creative about how you want to fit that information so that you can have essentially a result. Let's say 7 steps to becoming a fluent newbie at Bukit Vista, right? So that could be kind of like the theme of what we're going to do. All right, so we have each step, and then I think we need to have, let's say, a purpose or a theme for each step, and then what's the learning resource that somebody can access to get that idea. All right, Vidi, actually, let's go through your process. I think your process has been very interesting. You're fairly new here. Tell me, like, what sort of were the steps that you took, but what maybe even better should have been the steps that you can imagine for, let's say, a flawless onboarding?
Right. So the thing is, my step is quite different from the other interns, right? So I started as a like doing projects for Bukit Vista, and kind of like I didn't go through the orientation week like the other interns, remember?
Yep.
And the tools, basically, I learned it on my own.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's what's different. That's why when I had orientation day with Kaara at the first week of BB4, it was really awkward because basically I kind of know this stuff already, and no one taught me because like for Toki, bigger and all that stuff, it's very it's mostly self-learning. Okay. And I think it's that's why I thought to myself yesterday during our meetup with what was it again? Hayes? Maze?
Christian?
No, the GitLab guy.
Sean.
Sean, right? Yeah. That's why in our meeting with Sean, I was like, I did my orientation myself. But yeah, it will be super useful if we have like this kind of dictionary, especially for this squads and all that. They used to have a lot of properties, and they did provide me with a squad 1 Bible, squad 2 Bible, but it's very unstructured in a sense, and all of them are comprised into paper, a long paper, and they don't have a template. It's very it's like reading a novel as opposed to reading a dictionary. So, yeah, people can like tell stories about these properties and all that. Even in the Trello board, people kind of, even though there are already a structure, like what's the commission, what's the history and all that stuff. Sometimes a lot of them are not completed, are not complete basically.
Okay.
So I think it will for myself, Trello. I was quite familiar with Trello, Slack, and all the tools used in Bukit Vista right now. But it will be certainly useful if we comprise all this steps into a more systematic and template-based format, so that it's basically UX, right? How to make things user-friendly.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, how to make it intern-friendly, basically.
Oh, that's great description. Intern friendly. That actually, I like that. I like that idea. It should be intern friendly. Intern friendly. So then even an intern could be able to figure it out. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's review.
Sure. I have for onboarding program itself. Is it going to be given to the candidate for when they're having trials or after they pass?
Good question. Okay, so let's pretend this person is new, not trials, not anything, just brand new, right? So they don't know anything about Bukit Vista. And then what we can do is we can shift part of the onboarding into trials, right? So that essentially that is pre-programmed forward in the onboarding process. But we just have to decide what the cutoff for that could be, because I think part of the trial process is supposed to understand not the mistake that we made in the past was that we were starting onboarding during trial, and that was a mistake because essentially that requires a lot of output of energy and teaching to a person who might not even pass. So the point of trials at the moment is just to see, does this person exhibit the correct cultural habits? Do they have the correct approach? Are they a person we can work with on a day-to-day basis to succeed here? That's the point of trials. So let's kind of just try to imagine this person has passed already, and we will develop a program for them, like after post trials. And then if we want, we can see if there's any efficiencies by maybe moving some of this material over to pre-trials or to pre-onboarding during the trials. Okay, so Vidi, just to kind of recap, mentioned about product orientation, right? There's a lot of these products, and it's very confusing to find out how this can actually work. And I think we actually have to determine a few things, right? We have to determine whether this is sort of synchronous or asynchronous. Synchronous or asynchronous. And what I mean by that is, does this need to be taught to a person at a given time, or can they just sort of learn whenever they want and be completed at some later date? So some things are synchronous, like I think equipment. If you don't get this thing done for this person, then they will forever have a friction in being a productive citizen, right? So that needs to be done by a certain time. There are other things like maybe learning about product. That can be asynchronous. That can be we just provide the resource or the knowledge base and just leave it there, and then they can go and figure it out when they want to, okay? So there's this first idea of product orientation. I think Vidya also talked about this idea of tools, tools and best practices, right? So what are kind of like tools you use? What are the ways that we use these tools? That part is there. What else should be in the orientation? Let's go to Ara.
Culture, like it's included to the history, culture, and then how we like orientation paper. That's
Okay.
the very on the first step, I guess.
Excellent. Okay, history and culture I think is pretty important to understand. History, culture, and maybe mission. So those are like the basics of why is there a Bukit Vista? How did it form? What is like the goals of this company? And why am I here? Why am I actually here at this company? I think those are fundamental. Those sort of guide everything else. That is probably a synchronous thing that needs to be done. That needs to be done really upfront in the beginning. Tools and best practice. Oh, well, let's just say logistics, HR admin. HR admin, I think, is essentially like getting your contract, understanding getting your employee journal built, getting all these like sort of admin tasks, getting your computer, getting the passwords, all that sort of basic, just kind of strap-in type stuff. That I think is also synchronous. That needs to happen like for a certain time. All right. What's the other thing? Let's go to Vidi. That is important for
Workflows, sir.
workflow.
A lot of interns are confused about the workflow and Bukit Vista.
Okay. All right. Workflows. Is that the same as best practices or no?
Best practices. I thought that best practices in this case is on the usage of the tools.
Okay. Very good. All right. Workflows are more how to like plan through.
Yeah. For example, like what if there are bookings, and then they will go to HR, right? And then from HR, if there are any other, let's say there are deals, that are special deals, where we'll go and stuff like that.
Okay. All right.
What should the content team be doing? What I like a job description basically. Who to find, which chapter to find if there are some cases of event.
Okay, got it. All right. So essentially best operating practices, and these I think depend on each chapter too, right? Each chapter will have their own workflows. Okay. Anything else that anyone can think of? Let's go back to Ara. Anything that on your mind?
My question is, maybe this is not something we can attach in here, but also like given access as we are in remote working, we're not going to provide laptops, devices, right? So we need to give access to accounts and everything.
Okay, that's definitely HR admin. So access to devices, contracts, setup of new tools, new hardware. Okay. All right. Good. Let's see. Anything else? All right. Back to Vidi. Anything else?
Sir, product orientation, does it mean information? Does it include information?
Well, that included like basically, actually, well, we have two kinds of products, right? We have the product that we build in software, and then there's things we sell. So it's basically like property knowledge, right? Like you were asking about earlier. What property goes where? How, what's the story about each property, and what are the vital statistics around each property? Okay. Anything else?
The HR quiz, I think it should be the last one after they've
Yeah, that should be, we should have an HR quiz to see what do people retain and what do they not understand. Okay, one more thing I think is pretty important is company organization. That could be probably wrapped together in history, culture, and mission. But I think this idea of squads. Hey, we don't have a squad anymore. Wow.
Exactly, that's what I'm deleting from the orientation paper. Like we used to say that we have squad 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, it's something related to the Spotify orientation, remember? Because they have a tribe. We don't have any tribe anymore right now.
Yeah, but we do have other things, like we have cross-pollination. We have release trains right now. This idea that like the owner office hour is an example of a release train, right? That no matter what, this train sets and goes out every day at 5 o'clock, with or without passengers. Okay. I think that kind of summarizes it. That's essentially the bucket. All right. Here's where we need to actually take what we learned from Christian and maybe apply it here. So the HR admin, I felt like there was a real good tool at Bamboo HR, right? We talked about Bamboo HR, and I looked at this tool, and I want to show you guys what it is. From the way he described it, it seemed very complete. It seemed like the one place where everything is, where you have your contract, where you have your login details, where you have all this cool stuff. And I think from my perspective, and from also Ara's perspective, if you want to look across a company, understand like kind of like a people database, it would be really, really helpful to have this. This tool would make it far easier to, let's say, decide who gets a bonus, what's the history, blah, 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 all these things, all in one context, rather than having, a bit of Excel over here, a bit of paper over there, and sort of scattered all over the place. So I would like to start exploring this tool and understanding more about Bamboo HR, because I think we were able to get that insight from speaking with Christian. So Bamboo HR could be the go-to tool to organize our HR, and it would be a convenient employee database to sort of have. So the employee database. We could be really cheap and just use Salesforce for everything. That's the other way. I was thinking we could get Salesforce CRM, and that's customer relationship management, and we'll just treat employees like, no, I don't know. Maybe they could be, actually. We could treat employees like kind of like prospects and put them together in a database. But Bamboo HR seemed to be actually pretty an interesting device there. All right. Product orientation. Yes, Vidi.
For the product, for the employee database, Kara has requested the feature very similar to Bamboo HR to the mobile app.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
so we're going to develop it ourselves.
Yeah, so like the employee database and tracking of the like, for example, the CVs are saved in their profile page and all that stuff, so that HR can manage these employees, and each employees can have their profile page just like Facebook and all that stuff, so they can have their documents ready. So basically, like in you're in a campus, like a student, you have all your data right there. The history of your courses, it will be translated to the history of payroll, for example.
We have that? We're really
No, I requested that,
We
sir.
requested, yeah.
Oh, okay. That'd be
We're
great.
already on it.
Okay. All right. Great. Nonetheless, all right. Take a look at this product too, and get a feel for what a finished product would also feel like. Right. I think that's building the bridge on both sides. One part is vision. One part is what we're building towards that vision. Okay. So yes, I think we agree that we need some sort of employee database, because otherwise then things get very, very messy really quickly. All right, and next part, product orientation. Product orientation, I thought would be really cool to have that knowledge base that Christian was talking about. Is there a place that we can store all the knowledge about a property so that we don't need to have people as the gatekeepers to knowledge? We can just have this knowledge base be the gatekeeper. And if we could have that, that would have two outlets. One is to guest side, and the other is to employee side, right? So if we could have a knowledge base, and we could then structure essentially inquiries to pop in, query the knowledge base, and then the knowledge base then sends out a reply to the guest again, then we've essentially have automated a process of understanding about a product. And that's super valuable, if you can imagine, because then we won't have to rely on a team of experts knowing everything about every property. We can just, feed this information into a knowledge base, and then when everybody searches for this information, they can get it. That would be, let's say, the perfect product. That would be a perfect type scenario. Okay, so that I would say is probably the best learning resource on demand rather than by memory. Okay, tools and best practices. So what is the best way to get people to understand about the tools and the best ways to use these tools? Over to Vidi.
So when our company internally has used this tool, of course, when people like interns are onboarding, they will have to join the ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
But the current problem is that our company does not subscribe to these tools internally completely yet.
Of course. Okay.
But
Right.
if it's already completely used in the company itself, of course, interns will be forced to, like, not forced, but they will. It will be easier for them to join in the ecosystem.
That's correct. Just as what Christian was talking about, there's no choice. If there's no choice of doing anything else, then that becomes the default option.
Because two of the professionals that we contacted yesterday, they're from established company with a proper ecosystem ready, like fixed ecosystem that they have already. So that's why we don't really. They don't. I think we don't really receive any answer because they're already used to that kind of system, and
Right.
maybe when the time they're onboarding, it's already settled.
Exactly. So I guess they haven't seen the integration of how that system was set up in the first place, in the pre-beginnings. All right. Let's say this, Vidi. Let's imagine a world where that ecosystem is already in place. I'm open to this, actually. I'm How do I get into the Slack channel, by the way? Like, what do I need to do?
Right. So actually we already have it. All the channels are already set up for each chapter and the general channel.
Okay.
So like the WhatsApp group that we have, Bukit Vista 4.0 right now, can be transported into Slack channel.
Okay.
The general channel basically.
Okay. I
But
think
yeah, you have to directly like just like this quarantine. Suddenly, the government declare quarantine. Do people like automatically stop to quarantine? Like, there's a regulation that forces people to actually
got it.
transition.
Okay, let's do that then. Let's. Are you fairly confident that we will essentially not lose any functionality? I actually think it will work. We only have WhatsApp, like I said yesterday, because we wanted to interface with guests, and we use that with guests so often, and then from that sort of worked its way inward into the company from guests inward. But if we don't have any guests, then we can use whatever tools we want right now for internal company communication. My only concern is later on when we do get a lot of guests, then there becomes like this message river, right? There's like this little communication barrier between, like, let's say guests and operations and internally. So that I like use one tool outside and then use one tool inside. Talking with Christian about that, it didn't seem like there was very much of a problem. And I think he's right about the overall benefits of using Slack do create this. It's a platform for cultural development. It's in fact a platform for leading culture in a company. Okay, so if that's okay, then why don't we just make the switch next week? We'll say at the next all hands, we'll switch everything over to Slack.
So one of the biggest concern about moving everything to Slack is that the fact that our company's operations are not documented properly yet, meaning that some messages are sent, communicated through WhatsApp. For example, regarding deals and all that stuff are documented in WhatsApp. So people can search the history in WhatsApp, right?
Yeah.
But for Slack, since we're using the free version, we can only see up to like 1,000 previous message.
Okay.
So, but if we were to document it already, so any information will go through this funnel or the like data point.
Okay.
Then there's no point because Slack has a lot of features that is going like for things that are going on right now, and it's not meant to be used as a data saving.
Understood.
It's not data storage, right? It's a communication channel.
Yeah. Okay. You know what, Vidi? I think I recall that you've mentioned this a few times already. And sorry, I thank you for the reminder. I think that the overall benefits of Slack and the use of Slack as, let's say, a habit for our company, minus the documentation, are going to outweigh the documentation sort of like loophole there. So I think right now, since there isn't many deals and that's
cool.
Anyways,
correct.
I accept if that's the only fault of it, then I would say that that's an acceptable compromise. And we should prioritize the innovation part over the documentation part at this point. Okay, great. So all right, so let's set up that ecosystem so that part is more fluent. I think we already have everyone on Trello already. So we got that.
Yeah, but Trello is working really well. I've went to several chapters Scrum meeting, and they're actually doing pretty well. Maybe there might be some improvement tweaks, a little bit of tweak here and there, only in the naming formats and all that stuff.
Okay.
But generally, it's really efficient. It's really really good right now.
Okay, fantastic. That's what we were aiming for, and it's good to hear that we've made some progress. All right, let's go back to this idea of tools, right? So, are we just going to just assume that interns and whoever, just by entering the ecosystem, will know the best practices, or should we still have some step-by-step learning resources for them to understand?
I think there should be a learning resource because and best practices, especially in our company, because best practices varies a little bit, just slightly varies from company to company, and that would be useful to mark the specific part of what our company is doing. But generally, like Slack, it's very intuitive. It's just a channel. You can enter each channel and so on and so forth. But the specific part, for example, like pin important messages, and in Trello, document each activity, attach in. Don't forget to change and make sure that the card has this kind of format. It's specific, so we document it.
Okay, great. So then my next question is, what is the best delivery sort of option for this training? Do we create a video that you watch this video and then practice, or what do you think is the best format?
From like most of the time, people send like the HR document right now. I think it's really good right now. It's a mix of text and videos, right?
Okay, so paper.
Yeah, but maybe a little bit more instructional, I guess, like an algorithm, basically.
Coming from a CS major. Okay, all right, fair enough. Algorithmic instruction. Okay, all right. Instruction. Okay. All right. Let's go to this part: history, culture, and mission. I think, Ara, over to you. What do you think is the best way to convey the history, culture, and mission?
I think for this one can actually be applied for like papers, just
Mhm.
like as we used to do already, like the orientation workshop papers. It just needs to be aligned now with the 4.0, which I already also did, so it already can be distributed. That's particularly for history missions.
Okay.
About culture, because at some point I think to make somebody understand about culture, it's not something to be read, like it has to be applied, so like they have to see it themselves to understand what type of culture exactly that we have. So
Okay.
in that sense, paper could be, but I think it will be more effective when they see actually.
Okay. When they see. Okay.
Right, I agree. I think, but maybe just give them a pre-knowledge, basically, like just a little bit,
Yeah.
but they still have to apply it. For example, I think in the beginning of my when I joined Bukit Vista the first time, I have a lot of confusion in remembering terms um, like what's the difference between like KPI, what PCI. We have that thing before, right? PCE, PCI, PCC.
Good. Okay. Career.
What's the glossary? Glossary. But I completely agree with Kara that to actually be a part of culture, you have to experience it.
Okay. All right. So, should we even try on making people watch videos or look at pictures or any of that, or is it like just kind of understand the glossary and then jump in and play around? To
Yeah,
Ara.
I think for culture it has to be really experienced, not even like from videos,
Okay.
because like exactly that what we've been me and content team already tried out with Keisha. There's some incorrect behavior that we think that that's just not what how we used to do. So we think about cultural shock, and that's very normal in the as a person that is new and everything. So, but of course, it is indeed something that needs to be experienced, so the candidate can actually observe and understand how people actually habits and then like behave around. So yeah, like as simple as, for example, the concrete example is that how she always texted me every time she wants to join a meeting. Like that's not our culture, right? Our culture is when you know the schedule, just join.
All right.
But she still like asking for permission every time we have a meeting. So that's a matter of habits and culture that she needs to understand by experiencing it.
Okay, got it, got it. I understand that too. Yeah, there's some habits that expectations. Okay, I think we also should set expectations. We should kind of know what expectations are there for the people that we recruit. Of course, everyone's expectations will be different, but I think just like the idea that you can attend any meeting, that you should not feel shy about saying something that bothers you, because otherwise we might prescribe you the wrong antidote to that issue. Okay, great. On this one, on workflow, what I was thinking was actually the best way to do workflows is maybe like a screen share demo. So whatever it is you do, it will be done remotely now. And so essentially, it will be able to screen share and demonstrate how you would take care of this. So I think essentially, let's say a video index of all the things that you should know, right? Like this is how you handle this type of inquiry. And like kind of a written response. So sort of a tutorial, video tutorial might be, I think, the best way to actually create this tutorial screen share videos. What do you guys think? Over to video.
Mm, when it's chapter dependent, a tutorial screen share video, is, you mean like pre-recorded videos, right?
Yeah, like imagine if you're doing digital marketing or revenue management,
Right.
right? Probably like, sort of like the screen share videos. If you're doing community management, then probably like maybe past videos of community sync-ups.
Oh yeah, that makes sense actually
Yeah,
for sync ups, like how we do things in like
right.
so less friction in terms of
Mhm,
culture. Yeah,
mhm.
basically, I completely agree with Kara when we want to like kind of teach about the culture. Okay, there are some sets of instructions or knowledge that you should study first, but then when you do it practically, you will truly internalize the culture after you become the part of the culture.
That's
But
correct.
yeah, definitely, if documented information and past videos prescribe uh, that like a prescription of past videos will be useful, I guess.
Okay, all right, cool. Good stuff. You can probably use a mix of maybe sync-up videos and also tutorials, like revenue management patrol. That could be something that
Oh yeah, yeah, of
we
course.
totally do like through video instruction. Okay, when you see this condition, and we could almost academically classify it, right? Like a low booking pace, high occupancy situation, a low whatever situation, and then just create like short video tutorials to manage each situation. And actually, that would be pretty good for AI learning too. Okay, all right, great. And then the quiz. Ara, how would you like to administer the quiz?
For the quiz, I think it can be applied for both. What is it? Both way. Like usually we have like whereby, as usual, I always had, because it only take like 1 hour anyway, so that's fine. Or I don't know if we have tools for like pilihan ganda apa tuh?
There is multiple choice questions. One of my experience when like signing up for like scholarship or whatever, they have this kind of like I think yesterday's the professionals mentioned this software. I kind of forgot it.
Huh?
So they kind of record your through webcam your face, but you kind of like do problems
Uh-huh.
in the computer.
Yes.
Usually it's
Yeah.
like math questions, and so that they know you won't cheat and all that stuff, and you can see their expressions.
Right. Okay. This could be this is a video interview sort of platform, right? So you're essentially given questions, and they give you a certain fixed time. I did this for Uber. I applied to be a general manager at Uber once, and they sent me a test, and it was hard. It was. I thought, oh god, this is easy, right? And it's through that test that I appreciated Tableau. No shit. So they essentially expected that you would be able to use a pivot table to analyze the data. So they would give you essentially like 1,000 rows on a CSV, and it would be like how many people opened the Uber app, how many people booked a ride, blah 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 blah, all this stuff, right? So it was like 1,000 rows and 8 columns. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to know how to use pivot tables to figure out where the local minimums are throughout the day and all the shit. And I had no idea how to use that at all. So I was like, what the fuck is this test about? So I'm like trying to like figure out how to graph all this information. I was like, oh, this is crazy, right? So I think I didn't pass. Or I don't know. Uber's kind of a shady organization. They don't really tell you.
But also, sir,
Yeah.
like what I mean is not there are like one for video chat, video interview form, or another one is like a manual task but online. Apa pilihan ganda apaan sih, Vidi? What is it?
Multiple choice questions.
Multiple choice questions but online. That could be done too. So like basically a quiz but written on online without anyone in charge. So you can just fill out the task by yourself without anyone, because video interview is still demanding the senior, right, to do
Yes.
the
True.
interview.
Okay.
So that those two options I think could be considered.
Okay, so maybe a hybrid system. Part of it is probably we should probably see the person, and part of it will be just did you actually know anything about the company, right?
Yes.
As a way of monitoring their understanding. Okay, and I think the last part is the company organization, like the idea of a chapter, the idea of whatever. I think that could also be rolled into this history, culture, mission, right? Company org. Okay, great. I think that's it then, Ara. So I think we have a few good next steps. The next step could be, I think, investigating this particular product, this idea of Bamboo HR, and maybe Salesforce. Salesforce is also a CRM as well. Let's actually forget that. Wait, let me not make things more complex. Let me focus. Focus, Jim. Focus. All right. Ara, can we look at Bamboo HR? Maybe you can go on a trial program, test it out, see if that actually makes things easier, right? In the meantime, I think Vidi and the team is working on the software side to create an employee database. But let's kind of test this out and see, is this a good product for us? Would this actually solve a lot of our problems? This idea of Vidi, I think, of a knowledge base. Would you be interested in investigating platforms for knowledge base?
So the thing is, I'm not quite sure what knowledge base, like specifically like a knowledge base. Do you want it to be like a search engine or?
Yes, essentially like a search engine. The reason why I'm looking for a search engine video is because I don't want people to just go and try to memorize every product. That's almost crazy, right? And that's going to get
yeah. But for products itself, it's actually Nadine's products is our property, right?
Yeah.
Right. Nadine's working on it, right? Yeah, and I'm working on it.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. All right. But what about things that are specific to, let's say, the questions around a certain property? Let's say, for example, somebody asks, "Hey, is this property next to Deus, or is this property like have?"
Well, if it's specific like that, then we can add it to like the property ID. Then there are like facts, frequently asked questions, something like that.
Yeah, that can be done.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that can be done.
And then we can search essentially for these. Could we then automate the process of, let's say, inquiry response?
Yeah, I think the bot that we're doing is they have the FAQ, right?
Yes.
Is it to this? How many rooms? And
yes.
Yeah, we're doing it actually, but internal tools as of now because Kabayu, our CTO, is kind of swamped, and I'm still helping with.
Okay. All right. So let's delegate that to the CTO then, right?
Yeah, but we're doing it.
IT. And let's ask if Ara can follow up on this one. And there we go. Okay, all right. Okay, now we have to ask what is synchronous, what is asynchronous. So let's do that last part. And I think tools and best practices need to be synchronous. That's probably, that is very important that we get that done timely. Product knowledge probably is asynchronous, depending upon what you're doing. But most likely, even if you're doing HAR reservations, it will be asynchronous. There's no way we could understand what you need to learn at what time. Workflows, probably asynchronous. Learn on your own time how the workflows work so that you get this correctly. And quiz is probably synchronous. There has to be some time where the quiz has to be administered. Okay, that's just my best guess for right now. Does anybody have any comments on if that's correctly statused, synchronous and asynchronous? No? All right. Okay, all right, great. Ara, that's fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and invite you to this document, Bukit Vista. You're already there. And the second thing is I've attached this document to your card already. So this is the resource. I think this can be essentially how we build up all the parts to this great project. Okay, and that's it. And it's 3 o'clock. It's actually 3:10. We went a little bit over time, but is this good? Is this pretty clear now?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. All right, this will take a while to build. This is like a floor plan, and I think it'll take quite a while to build, and it'll take a while to also innovate on. I think there are going to be new things that we forgot to put in. And we'll be like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, you're right. We should have probably put in what a KPI is, what PCI means. Some of that won't be so obvious to us as it will be to, let's say, a new person who has never heard of it before. Okay, that's pretty much it. So with that, I think we can wrap up today's HR discussion. That was really good. We did our scrum, and we also did some research. And yeah, Ara, I've trained Chandra, Shinthia, Andre about time management, and I think our hypothesis yesterday was correct. Okay, well, I'll stop this discussion right now. I'll stop the recording because we're going into another